Hey, welcome. Today we're pulling back the curtain on the art of poetry. We're going to show you that it's not some kind of secret code, but a craft with a specific set of tools. And really, anyone can learn to see how they work. So, have you ever read a poem and just felt lost? Like there's some secret meaning that everybody else gets but you? Trust me, you are not alone. It's a super common feeling, but we're about to fix that. Because here's the thing. The secret isn't a secret at all. It's just about knowing the basic building blocks that poets use to create all that emotion and music. So, what do you say? Let's open up the toolkit. Here's our game plan. We're going to tackle this in 4 sections. First, we'll get to the heart of the poem. Then, we'll see how poets are basically painting with words. After that, we'll tune into the music of language. And finally, we'll look at the shape on the page. All right, let's dive right in with the absolute core of any poem, the big ideas and feelings that give it a purpose. This is all about its theme, tone, and mood. So first up is the theme. Now, this isn't just the topic of the poem, it's the deeper message, right? It's what the poem is really trying to say. Think of huge concepts like love, loss, nature, or time. For instance, you could be reading a beautiful poem all about a sunset, but the theme, the real heart of it, might actually be about getting older or about losing something precious. The sunset is just the way the poet gets you to feel that bigger idea. Okay, next up, let's clear up 2 words that often get confused: tone and mood. Think of it like this. Tone is the poet's attitude. Are they being sarcastic, sad, excited? But mood is the atmosphere that the poem creates for you, the reader. A poet could use an angry tone to make you feel a tense mood. See the difference? Let's move on to our next set of tools. This is where things get really visual, because this section is all about how poets create these incredibly vivid worlds just by, well, painting with words. And the number 1 tool for that is imagery. This is all about language that makes you experience the poem's world. And it's not just about what you can see. It's about language that triggers all 5 of your senses, making everything feel totally real and tangible. Check out this line. Golden leaves, boom, you've got a clear visual. But then you get whispered, now you can hear it too. That's the magic of imagery. In just a few words, you're right there in the scene. But what happens when words mean more than what's in the dictionary? That's where our next tool comes in. It's called figurative language, and it's how poets create these amazing layers of meaning. Now, here are 3 of the big ones you'll see all the time. You got the metaphor, which is a direct comparison, saying one thing is another. A simile is a little softer. It makes a comparison using like or as. And then there's personification, which is just fun. It's giving human qualities to things that aren't human, like saying the wind danced. Now for what might be my favorite part of the whole toolkit. Because poetry isn't just meant to be seen on a page, it's meant to be heard. It's an experience for your ears. So let's talk about the music of language. When we think of poetry, our brains usually jump right to rhyme, right? And yeah, a lot of poems use very structured rhyme schemes. But it's so important to know that a ton of modern poetry is actually free verse. That just means it doesn't rhyme at all, and it uses other tools to create its music. Which brings us to rhythm. Just think of it as the poem's heartbeat. It's that musical flow you feel when you read it, created by the pattern of stressed and unstressed syllables. When that pattern is super regular, we call it meter. And you might not even notice it consciously, but rhythm has a huge effect on how a poem feels. Poets also use these cool little tricks called sound devices. Alliteration is when you repeat consonant sounds at the beginning of words, like in Wild Wind's Whistle. Assonance is kind of similar, but for vowel sounds, like that long E in Deep Green Sea. And then there's everyone's favorite onomatopoeia, words that literally sound like the noise they describe. You know, buzz, bang, whisper. All right, for our final section, we're going to zoom out. We're not just looking at individual words anymore, we're looking at the poem's blueprint, its actual physical shape on the page. You see, a poem's structure is never an accident. Everything from the length of the lines, to how they're grouped into stanzas, to whether it follows a strict old form like a sonnet, all of it is chosen on purpose to support the poem's main idea and its emotional punch. The shape itself is part of the story. So, we've unpacked the toolkit. We've got all these different tools laid out, but here's the most important thing to remember. These aren't just for picking a poem apart. They are your keys to enjoying poetry on a much, much deeper level. It's about getting past just reading the words and starting to really feel them. So the next time you come across a poem, try this.
First, ask yourself, what's the big idea here? What's the theme? Then, pay attention to the imagery. What can you see, hear, or even smell? After that, listen for the music. And finally, just notice how it's built, how it looks on the page.
Look, the goal here isn't to dissect a poem until all the magic is gone. It's actually the complete opposite. When you start to understand the craft behind it, you appreciate the art so much more. You can finally move from being confused to having a real personal connection with it.
And that's really what this all boils down to. The theme, the images, the music, the shape, they're all just tools working together for one single purpose, to make you feel something. The only question left is, what will you go out and feel next?